guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Irene and I'm a registered dietitian, and today I'm going to be showing you guys 5 of my favorite high protein breakfasts. So on the menu for today, we have a cheese and egg breakfast sandwich, breakfast burritos, pancakes, frittata, and overnight oats. So to make the breakfast sandwich, you'll need just a couple of very simple ingredients, including some bread, egg whites, and sliced cheese. So to start, you'll whisk 1 egg and 2 egg whites together. I find that this is like the perfect amount of egg, and it like covers my pan just perfectly and also provides a good amount of protein in for breakfast. And don't forget to season your eggs with some salt and pepper. We'll want to grease our pan with a little bit of oil just so that the eggs don't stick. Once the pan is warm, you'll want to pour your eggs in there and then just let it cook until it's like almost set. Now that my eggs are almost set, I'm going to go ahead and place my 2 pieces of bread directly on the egg. And then I'm going to gently see if I can flip all of this over. Once it's flipped over, we'll go ahead and place our slice or slices of cheese and then fold the sandwich in half. I like to fold in these edges of extra egg just so everything is kind of contained within the 2 slices of bread. And then I just let it sit and toast both sides of the bread. So here we have our final product. This was super easy to make, and let's just cut into this to see a little cross section. Ooh, we got some nice egg and ooey gooey cheese in there. This looks delicious. I ate this a lot back in college just because I feel like, ooh, we got some cheese oozing out. This is like super easy to make and also like really quick and doesn't need a lot of ingredients, so definitely really yummy. Next, for the pancakes, I'm using something that I think I've shared in the past before, but these are my favorite like high protein pancake mix. I love Kodiak cakes. I also sometimes buy their like muffin mix for my breakfast protein muffin meal preps. This giant box I bought at Costco, obviously, and it comes with like 3 of these things, and I usually just make the whole thing and then I freeze them for like next time, and I use these for meal prep. So I'm just gonna be making the whole thing today because I feel like that's easier than making this like several different times. So I have my big bowl here, and I'm just going to pour all of this in here. So to make this whole thing, I'm going to be adding 4 3/4 cup of milk and 7 eggs, which sounds like a lot, but there's a lot of pancake mix here, so. And then I'm just going to use a whisk to mix everything up. Then once this is all mixed, I'm just going to pour some into this measuring cup to help with pouring it out into the pan. Then on a warm greased pan, I'm going to go ahead and pour my pancake batter. I like to make 1 big pancake because I feel like if I'm meal prepping, this is way easier to do than making like a million different smaller pancakes. I also like to add my chocolate chips after I pour in the batter because I feel like whenever I add the chocolate chips directly into the batter while I'm mixing it, they just all sink to the bottom and the chocolate chips are unevenly distributed. So I just do it this way, and then I pour a little bit of extra batter on the chocolate chips. Now that there's bubbles forming at the top of the pancake, that means it's time to flip. And then once the other side finishes cooking, I'm probably gonna flip it back over just to brown this side a little bit more, and then we're done. So this is our final pancake product. I typically like to garnish or like serve with some fruit and some nuts and seeds on top. So today I used banana because berries aren't quite in season right now. And then I also added some chopped pecans, pumpkin seeds, and hemp hearts. And then I drizzled with honey on top for a little bit of like extra sweetness because they are pancakes after all. And then I just froze the rest of the pancakes, but just to kind of like plate it and for visual appeal, I have a couple stacked, but I'll probably like just put this all in the fridge for meal prep this week. Moving on to the breakfast burritos, we're gonna start with our potatoes, which I will wash and peel and then dice. So I'm not a very skilled peeler, and every time I'm like at home, like cooking or like peeling anything, my mom cannot bear to watch me peel anything because I'm just so bad at it. She thinks that I'm just like about to cut off a finger or something, even though the most damage that you could probably do with a peeler is like maybe skin some skin off, but that is how much I suck at peeling things. So this always just like takes me so long. So we will fast forward to the next step. Once they're peeled, I'm just going to start dicing them. Once I've got my potatoes all diced up, I'm going to go ahead and drizzle some oil, and then I'm gonna season it with some salt, pepper, garlic powder, paprika, and onion powder. And then you just toss this to combine. Then I'm just gonna dump this on a parchment lined baking sheet to bake in the oven or air fryer. Moving on to the eggs, I like to do 1 egg and 2 egg whites for each burrito. So I'm gonna be making 4 today, so I'm going to just use 4 eggs and 8 egg whites. And for my egg whites, I use the ones from Costco that are just these like egg whites in a carton. So I'm not like wasting egg yolks or anything. And we'll just whisk this up and then season again with salt and pepper. Back at the stove, we're just gonna pour these eggs in and then scramble them. Now for my burrito assembly, I'm just going to put my scrambled eggs in the center. I'll add the potatoes. And then today I'm gonna be using these Morningstar sausages. I typically like to add one more source of protein, so I'll just like break this in half and then put it on here. And then add the cheese. I'm using a Mexican blend. I feel like this just goes well with this type of burrito. And then I just wrap it up. Right, there you are. In the morning, I would probably just like toast this in the toaster oven back there. The outside becomes like nice and crispy, but here's a nice little cross section. I love to do burritos for breakfast because they're super easy to meal prep. Like I can make a double batch of these that'll last me like 2 weeks, and I can keep them in the freezer for like later. They really hold up really well. I just like thaw them in the fridge on Sunday, and then whenever I want to eat them in the morning, I just like toast them in the toaster oven. So this is really great also on the go if you like don't have time to like sit down to eat. So next up, we're going to be making a frittata, which I feel like it's a great way to get some extra veggies in at breakfast. I feel like it can be really difficult to get like vegetables in at breakfast, and I'm not always able to incorporate them, but this is definitely one of my favorite ways to kind of just get some extra veggies in. So today we're going to be making a red pepper and spinach frittata. There's lots of other variations that you could make, like you can use mushrooms and spinach instead, or whatever other veggies that you like. I feel like this is pretty versatile. So to start, we're actually going to just cut up our red red bell pepper, and then also saute that with our spinach on the stove. So over on the stove, I have my pan that's heating up with some oil, and I'm just going to add the red bell peppers to it and let it cook. Once the bell peppers are somewhat cooked through, I'm gonna go ahead and add the spinach. For the egg mixture, I like to use a combination of egg whites and eggs, as well as a little bit of milk. So I put about 4 egg whites in there, and I'm going to do 4 eggs as well. And I'm gonna put about like a 1/4 cup of milk. Then I'll season with garlic powder, onion powder, pepper, and some salt. And when the spinach is kind of wilted, I'll go ahead and pour in the egg mixture. And then I'll just give this a little mix. And we'll top it all off with some crumbled feta. And this will bake in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, so here's the final result of the frittata. Honestly, I feel like it looks really good, and I would definitely take a bite out of it, but it just came out of the oven and is super hot, so I think I will wait until later this week. I feel like I could have added a little bit more egg though, because it doesn't look like super full in the pan. It did puff up a lot in the oven, and it was like this high literally when I took it out, but I feel like I definitely could have added a little bit more egg and it would have been okay. But again, a super easy breakfast to put together that you can eat for the whole week. And then for our last breakfast item, we're going to be making some overnight oats. And I like to add a little extra protein in my overnight oats with some protein powder. So I use just like a regular unflavored whey protein, but you can use whatever protein that you like. And you can also like mix and match flavors too. And I feel like it's just a super easy way to get some extra protein in. So to start, I'm going to do a 1/2 cup of rolled oats. And I wish I had like, I wish I had like a funnel, because I always am so bad at doing this and I get stuff, as you can see. And I also like to add a tablespoon of chia seeds to this. I add some extra fiber as well as a little bit of protein, and I'm gonna go in with about 1/2 scoop of my protein powder. And this serves as a really good base for whatever flavors you want to add on top of this. I'm going to do chocolate peanut butter because that's kind of my default, so I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder. And once I've got all of my dry ingredients in there, I'm going to go ahead and add my wet ingredients. So starting with milk, I add about 3/4 cup, and I like to give it a stir before I add the peanut butter, because I feel like everything just like gets all clumpy if I don't. And then I'll add in a good spoonful of peanut butter. I love peanut butter, so I'm adding like quite a bit. And I just want to mix that in there as well. And for a little touch of extra sweetness, I like to do some honey, but you could also do some maple syrup or whatever other liquid sweetener that you want. I feel like my honey's gotten like all crystallized and weird because it's like cold, that or I haven't used it recently. And lastly, I like to add some fruit and also some chocolate chips on top, kind of as like a little garnish. I'm using banana again today because that's just what I have, but berries also work super well with this. I feel like the bananas are a little heavy, so they keep like sinking, and it looks like there's like none in here, but I pretty much put in like a whole banana. And like our pancakes, I feel like you can also top with a little bit of extra like nuts and seeds just to make it look pretty. And there you go. All right, and then with the overnight oats, you'll just want to pop the lid on and then store it in the fridge overnight so that it can kind of really like soak in that moisture and be more like oatmeal. And this is another breakfast that is super easy to take on the go. If I'm like in a rush or something, I'll just like take this to work with me and eat while I'm going through the patients that I have to see that day. All right, and there you have it. Those are my 5 favorite high protein breakfasts that I'm constantly making on repeat. They're also super great for meal prep too, if you're into that. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.